This path is not for the faint of heart. As you see, this is a lot of deciphering. There's a lot of trauma in these lines, in these boxes. Get mentally prepared to see attended school, whether able to read, whether able to write, be straight No's across the board.
I'm your host, Janisha Johnson, aka the Georgian Historian. Let's go hunting heritage.
Hello to my people. For today's episode, I'm going to be teaching you all how to track your ancestors. Now, in the last episode, I mentioned how I wanted to know everything about the people who inhabited the place that I visited, my dad's birthplace. So now I'm going to be showing you how I started my research. And in the spirit of Christmas, what better gift could I give than the gift of knowledge? Good old Google. Now type in family search. I know Ancestry.com is probably more popular and you can do a lot with your DNA results from them. But strictly for looking up census records and other records about deceased family members, I recommend Family Search. So now just click on the link to Family Search and it's going to take you to their homepage and ask you to create an account with a password, but it's all free. I'm signed in already. Now just click Search in Records. And here is where you type in everything that you know about your family member. I use my great-grandmother, Sally Haynes. Haynes is her maiden name. And we didn't know where she was born, so we searched by residence. And the more information you have to put right here is the better, as you'll see. And we knew that she lived in Terrell County from 1960s up to the 2000s when she died. And after you put in everything that you know and that is accurate, she was a Johnson actually. She was married. Haynes was her maiden name. But now you just click search and these are all the results that you have to sort through and read through to figure out if you're on the right track. Yes, it's a lot of results, and the less you have to put in, the more search results you have to look through. And now I'm going to show you what happens when you put in more information. We knew who her husband was, so that's why I clicked on spouse. And I typed in her husband, Willie Johnson. But I want to iterate that if you only have one name and limited information off jump, you can most definitely still look through things. It'll just take more time and you have to consult older family members who will maybe know more and help you, but it's definitely possible. So now I'm going to search by her spouse, Willie Johnson. And when I update it, you're going to see basically the more specific your search criteria, the more specific and narrowed down your results will be. So I'm going to cheat a little bit because I already have her information in my source box. Yes. So I'm going to scroll down And to this last page, which is where the very first things that I found are on. And this is what I found. Yep. This is the first thing I found 4 years ago about Sally Haynes. And notice that there are a bunch of Carters in the household. So that was really interesting for me to see. And do not be afraid to click on the census, the actual handwritten census right here. I know it may look strange and a bit scary. It's very old. You don't even know whose handwriting this was. Yes, but just zoom in with your plus sign here until it is as legible as it's gonna get, because you have all this juicy information at the top. Like, oh, you get to know if they read or write, or could read or write, excuse me, and if they went to school in the past year, their color or race, and where they worked. But anyway, so when you click on this actual census, it highlights the person that you clicked on for. Like here, it's Sally Haynes in the household is highlighted. Yes. So right here, it says Sally Haynes is 60, widowed, black, and this is 1920. So 17-year-old me was thinking, this Sally, she was 60 in 1920. How did she die in 2004? If she was already this old back then. So, remember I said, don't be afraid to click on the census. So I go scrolling up looking at other names just because, and then I scroll down, scrolling down, and look, another Sally. This Sally sounded more right in the age range. And look, golden. And so I told my dad, and he confirmed that yes, that is the right Sally. And these are Sally's siblings: Hortense John, Maggie, Sibo. Yes, so the Sally Haynes below the Sally on the census that I found, this one, she was the correct Sally, my great grandmother Sally. I hope this is not confusing, but I still thought that this Sally, the 60-year-old widowed Sally, was important because look, she has the same last name as Sally Hahn's middle name. They have a maiden name. So, are they related? So, me tinkering, I try to go back 10 years prior. This is a 1920 census. So, I search again for the 1910 census. And remember, Sally Haynes, my great-grandmother, the younger Sally in this case, it says her daddy, Golden Haynes, right here, is 36, and her mother is 34, and Sally Haynes is 12. So if you go back 10 years prior, everyone should be 10 years younger. That's another pro tip to confirm whether or not your information is right, going back and forth between censuses. And here I have the 1910 census. And look, Golden High's 36, Piney's 34, Sally's 12, and in 10 years, Sally's 3, Pecan's 26, Golden High's 27. That sounds accurate. Yes, everyone is 10 years younger. So I knew that this was the same people, my relatives, again, just 10 years before. And then I click on this. The actual census. And I scroll up, and all of the Carters are still in Sally's Hines, the older Sally Hines place. So now, okay, I'm like, can I go back another 10 years? And yes, I have pulled up the 1900 census. Now, I'm making this look easy because I found the information already, so I have it pulled up already for you all. But in reality, this took months to put together. Of course, I was going to school full time, and I had other stuff going on. But yes, this takes time, you guys. So be in a headspace where you are patient and you are in the right mind frame for the hunt, because this is exciting. I was so excited. This is 1900. This is 120, almost 121 years ago. So I found the 1920 census, and I found the 1910 census, and now we are on the 1900 census. Yes. And look, James Haynes. Now, spelling back then can get a little, inconsistent because, country accents, the person, whoever is writing the census and recording names, they can think it's spelled one way because the way it sounds coming out of people's mouths. But see, what do I see? Sally Haynes and Golden. Now, that would mean that this Golden is James Haynes and Sally Haynes' son. So I essentially pieced together from finding my great-grandmother, tracking her father, my great-great-grandfather, and found my great-great-great-grandparents, James Haynes, or Hines, and Sally Hines. Again, this is the 1900 census. Sally Haynes is 45. Now this would be the older Sally. So it says she's 45 in 1900. And if we go to the 1910 census, this one, and look at the older Sally, she should be 10 years older. Yes, 55. And so she should be 60 something in the 1920 census. The older Sally, remember. The 19, yes, 60. So, this gave me a good indicator that this is the same person. And if we click on this census, the 1900 census, I am going to zoom in and let me zoom in one more time. Yes, so look, this is James Haynes, and he's a head, he's black, male, estimated birthday 1850. Oh my goodness. I trace one of my ancestors who was born into slavery. This was so amazing to me to actually see them, and well, at least the name, and see that they were in Lee County, Militia District 738, Palmyra Road. I live relatively close, very close, to the same area that one of my great 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 grandparents and further relatives lived in. Oh my goodness. And worked in as enslaved people. See, farmer. And it's just amazing how you see all these farm laborers, and these are other black people um, around them. Let's verify. Black, right here in this race category. Black. Yeah, so these are other black people around them, and you see farm labor all the way down the screen. And it's just amazing how most of the black youth in my generation, more older or younger, do not know how to farm. All of this knowledge of the land has been lost, has been wiped out, and we were the ones working the land for centuries. It's just sad. And I know a lot of people had their land stolen and were forced to leave it and sell it, had deeds burned. It's just a whole gap of information just obliterated. But when I found out that I found my great, great, wait, my great grandparents, oh my goodness, I was ecstatic. And when I told my daddy, he was also very excited. So much so that he contacted my Uncle Frank and told him all about our finds. And Uncle Frank told us where Golden Hind was buried at a church called Jordan Grove in Lee County. So the next chance we got, my daddy and I, we took a trip there and straight out of the car, we walk up to it. We had never been to this church or the cemetery before, nothing. But right after getting out of the car, we walked straight up to it. It felt like some kind of divine intervention, some otherworldly force just led us right to what we came there to see. It definitely felt like we were onto something. And now I can confirm that we definitely are.
And that is the basics, you guys. Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays if you don't celebrate Christmas. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you, participants, and thank you, viewers. Remember, if you want to contact me about the show, email me at thegeorgianhistorian@gmail.com. The links are in the description box below, along with all the other ones that you can find me on. And I'll see you next time on The Hunt.